right, it's 6:45 p.m. We're going to call this meeting, workshop session of the Lewisville City Council to order, and we do have a quorum. First up is discussion of the consent and regular agenda. I have invocation with Councilmember Kuykendall. I have the pledges to the flags, Councilmember Green. Item C1 is a presentation of the 2026 North Texas Community Cleanup Challenge and Community Champion Award, recognizing Keep Lewisville Beautiful as well as our parks and various other folks for an award that we won from the Council of Governments. Item 2, presentation of the Lewisville Police Department's Texas Law Enforcement Accreditation Certificate from the Texas Police Chiefs Association Foundation. We have Chief Steve Stanford presenting to Chief Brooke Rollins. Item D1, public hearing, consideration of an ordinance of the Lewisville City Council amending the zoning ordinance for an SUP for a smoking establishment. Marhaba Lounge, I believe we have closed session on this one.
No, actually, so we're asking council, I know our recommendation is we're going to continue it to the next meeting.
Yep.
We are working with the applicant as well as legal to add a few more conditions. I know there's been some issues in the past with hookah lounges. We're just wanting to make sure that we set them up for success with council, and so we're working with them on that. And then the other thing I just wanted to make sure on the record is that our memo and our admin comments on the agenda had a misprint, a typo on the vote at P&Z. It was actually approved 6-1, so one person voted against this. So we said it was unanimous, but the minutes are correct. It just wasn't reflected in here.
Okay.
And the person who voted against was Ainsley Stelling.
Thank you.
Can you, I had a quick question about that one. I noticed they do not allow BYOB. Is that, that is unique from what we've had before with the hookah lounges, correct?
It is. That's their plan, and they offered that up to not allow any type of alcohol on this, and that is unique from the others.
Item D2, public hearing, consideration of an ordinance amending Article 3, Development and Zoning Procedures of Volume 2 of the City of Lewisville City Code, known as the UDC. This is aligning state statutes and streamlining processes that have changed from the state level. Any questions on that one? Richard Lukey is available. Public hearing 3, resolution City Council provide for the adoption of the 2026 annual action plan as required by Department of Housing and Urban Development. Questions on this one? These are our CDBG and home grant funds. Item 4, continued public hearing. This is 2274 South Euchre Lane.
And Mayor and Council, I just wanted to update on all the Euchre items. I know you're going to call the other ones, but on this one, as well as the other ones, just they are still in the process of demolition. If you need any more information, obviously Jeremy Booker's here, but they are in the process of demolition. There is still, to demolish the structure, you pull a demo permit. They need to close out those demo permits. They're not closed out because there is still debris on the property. Our recommendation is to hold this until the next meeting, to continue, keep the public hearing.
Yep. So that's 2274, that's item 5, 2304, that's item 6, 2316, and that's item 7, 2328.
So we're continuing to the 17th?
Yes.
Okay.
Item E, visitors forum. Item F, consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda? Easement, corporate drive change order, Lila kayak launch on the lake or on the dam side, professional services for South Keeley Avenue, professional services for Timber Creek erosion, professional services for South Mill Street landscape, services. Go ahead.
One quick question. So the easement for 407, 35, sorry, 35 probably, or is that just transferring it from?
No, so actually the easement, you're talking about the access easement going across our property. So the easement bisects the entire property. The plan has always been, and talking with Atmos, that they would release that because it actually would destroy all chances of development of that property or limit what we're trying to plan for that. So it's just been a while for them to process that. We're at the point where they're releasing it. There's a small easement that remains, and so we're releasing an easement and giving a small portion of the easement.
So is there a gas line there?
No, they've not. That was just an easement that they were holding. They've actually put it along a long time ago along the road.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's the southwest corner.
This is just making sure it's off of all the documents. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's an incredibly hard thing to get a utility company to release an easement.
We're magic. No,
So-
it's taken a while.
Yeah,
It's taken a while.
good job.
It is quite phenomenal, actually.
16 is a grant award from the governor. It's the Homeland Security Grant Program. It's $21,000 for variable message boards. 17, approval of a resolution to reappoint myself to the RTC for the southern part of Clinton County. Item 18, alternative standards associated with landscape and building materials in the 35 corridor overlay at 1844 North Stemmons. That's zone general business. Any questions on that one? It's for Flora and Moore. Item 19, 2026 annual service plan to the service and assessment plan and assessment role for public improvements for Lakeside Crossing. Item H, reports. I have no staff reports except for Stacy Anaya regarding public engagement sessions for the Lake Park project. So, and then I've also got a PARD partner roundup that is in the packet. So if you have not heard about what our PARD partners are doing, that's where you will find it. And closed session. We have on. We've got a couple things here on closed session, so. Question on that? Hearing none. This workshop is closed and we will open in regular session here in about 8 minutes. All right, good evening, and welcome to the regular session of the Lewisville City Council. We do have an agenda and a quorum. It's amazing how that all works together. First up on tonight's agenda, we have our invocation with Councilmember Brent Kirkendall.
Please stand with me. Our Father who's in heaven, holy is your name. I pray that your kingdom would come and your will would be done on earth, in our nation, in our city, and in this chamber as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our offenses as we forgive those who offend us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Join us in the pledges to the flag. Councilmember Green?
Please join me for the pledge to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas flag.
Honor the
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Jennifer. I ask Susan Alvarez, Andy Swift. Magic. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Got the shirt too, all the merch.
No, it came all fancy.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have before you a stellar group of fantastic stewards of the environment. So, good evening, Mayor Gilmore, members of the Lewisville City Council, and congratulations to the City of Lewisville and Keep Lewisville Beautiful. My name is Susan Alvarez, and I'm the Director of Environment Development at the North Central Texas Council of Governments. I'm here with Andy Swift from the North Texas FIFA Organizing Committee, as well as the stellar leadership from the City of Lewisville and Keep Lewisville Beautiful. It is my pleasure, on behalf of the North Central Texas Council of Governments, to recognize Lewisville as the 2026 North Texas Community Cleanup Challenge champion. Lots of C's there. This is particularly exciting for us at the COG. This is an annual event that we do in the spring to kind of clean up all the winter stuff that accumulates in our creeks and rivers. This year, we had twice the number of cities participating, largely because of my friends at the North Texas FIFA Organizing Committee. We had 29 cities participating this year. That's huge. And more than 8,300 volunteers taking part in 317 cleanup events across North Texas. Together, participants, including y'all, picked up over 77 tons of litter. That's both a good news and a bad news thing. It's great news that you got it. It's really sad it's there. But we appreciate your efforts. That said, in addition to the regional win, y'all took the cake. You had over 85 cleanup events, engaged over 900 volunteers, and volunteer management is not easy. This is really, really great work on your part. You all demonstrate an extraordinary level of commitment to keeping the community clean, beautiful, and welcoming. What makes this especially meaningful is it wasn't just really about picking up litter. It was getting together with your friends and neighbors, coordinating with other community organizations, and really working together to make your community a great place to live. This year, we had the larger significance of cleaning up house before company came, meaning we had a beautiful community to greet our visitors from around the world. And that's largely due to efforts like what y'all did. So our big thing at the COG is regional collaboration. The Community Cleanup Challenge is a great example of what that looks like in action. Cities compete with each other as frenemies, but in this case, we showed how we can really come together as a region to make it healthier, more vibrant. So, on behalf of the COG, congratulations to the City of Lewisville, Keep Lewisville Beautiful, and the almost thousands of volunteers that you had here who gave their time, their Saturdays, and everyone's on staff as well who helped make this year's event such a success. So thank you for your leadership and for making North Texas a better place for everyone. Congratulations. And now I have a Monday true confession. It's sort of like the checks in the mail. The plaque is in a vehicle on the way here. I don't have it physically to give you, but it's on its way and it will eventually be there. So I don't know if we want to take pictures anyway. Okay.
I know the COG folks don't like to be in pictures, but too bad. Come on. I need my Council of Governments folks in here too. We good? All right. Let's give everybody a hand on this one. Really thankful for the recognition and for all the hard work from our residents. It takes everybody to make these things work. Next up, we have a presentation of the Lewisville Police Department's Texas Law Enforcement Accreditation Certificate from the Texas Police Chiefs Association Foundation. I have Chief Steve Stanford, and presenting that to Chief Rollins.
Thank you, Mayor. 77 tons of trash, just a couple of trucks from Bridgeport. So, hey, Mayor, council members, community members of Lewisville, good evening. My name is Steve Stanford. I do serve as the Chief of Police in Bridgeport, Texas. However, tonight I am here to represent the Texas Police Chiefs Association, where I serve as a lead assessor for the program and also the committee chair for the association's accreditation program. Many of you know about the accreditation programs in schools, universities, and hospitals. These programs of excellence require proof of compliance with best practices, or commonly known as professional standards. In 2007, the association developed an accreditation program for Texas law enforcement with a vision to assist local agencies with professionalizing law enforcement services. Our program is voluntary. It's a process where agencies must prove they meet or exceed 173 demanding standards. These standards are based on Texas law, Texas court decisions, and professional best practices. These standards include critical topics such as use of force, protection of citizen rights, vehicle pursuits, property and evidence management, internal affairs, and administrative oversight, just to name a few. This program has become the gold standard for professional law enforcement in Texas. In May, trained assessors spent several days auditing your police department. During that time, several internal and external staff interviews were conducted, along with a complete inspection of your police facility and operations. Assessors conducted ride-outs with police officers to ensure compliance in the field and attended various meetings and shift briefings. The lead assessor submitted a summary report to the accreditation committee comprised of 1 sheriff and 8 active police chiefs across the state. The committee reviewed the report and voted unanimously to award accredited status to your police department. During this process, your police department has proven that it meets or exceeds modern best practices for professional law enforcement. With over 2,800 law enforcement agencies in Texas, I'll say that again, 2,800 law enforcement agencies in Texas, less than 10% of Texas agencies have received such status. The accreditation program ensures you, the elected body, city management, and citizens of Lewisville that their police department is a legitimate leader in law enforcement. With its commitment to police excellence, the accreditation status means your police department is one of the best in the state of Texas, a mark of true professionalism. This evening, I have the distinct honor as we officially recognize your police department's outstanding performance and achievement as an accredited police agency. Chief Rollins, please come forward. As he approaches, you know this, I got to spend those days here, several days with his staff, and you already know this, City Manager. You have an exceptional leader with a clear vision of professional policing, and he's done a phenomenal job. And spending those days with him and his staff was a distinct pleasure of mine and also my co-assessor. He does an outstanding job, and I want to congratulate you and your entire community, Chief, on a job well done. Congratulations.
Yes.
Excellent. Mayor and Council and Chief, thank you very much for your kind words. On behalf of the men and women of the Lewisville Police Department, we're honored to accept the accreditation certificate. It does the recognition is really a reflection of the people of the police department. Every day our team comes to work driving and committed to serving this community with professionalism, integrity, compassion, and accreditation confirms that our systems, policies, and practices are all in place and that they meet the highest professional standards. I would like to take a moment to recognize Captain Matt Collins, who led the accreditation process, and that is no easy task. He was busy all the time, and I have never seen him busier than when he went through this process. We modernized it, we made it technologically advanced, we got away from paper and put everything into the computer, and that was a huge ask on his part, and I'm grateful for that work. All that to say, it's a tremendous amount of effort, and he did a wonderful job guiding our team through it. So we're proud of the Lewisville Police Department. I know you are as well, and I hope our community feels the same. This recognition doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to the leadership team. It belongs to the members of the police department and to our community. So thank you for your continued support of our department, and the members of the community, thank you as well. Thank you.
That training's working. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate you. Next up on the agenda is item D1, public hearing. Public hearing, consideration of an ordinance of the Lewisville City Council amending the zoning ordinance by granting a special use permit for a smoking establishment on a portion of 1.828 acres legally described at High Point Oaks Addition, Lot 3R1, Block C, located at 2680 Denton Tap Road, and Zone Light Industrial District, provided for a savings clause, repeal or severability, penalty, and effective date, as requested by Nahid Villani, the applicant, on behalf of Hilltop Corner LLC, the property owner, case number 26-05-8-SUP. Marhaba Lounge is a proposed 1,765 square foot hookah lounge to be located within a portion of an existing shopping center on the site. The business will operate from 11 a.m. to midnight, Sunday through Thursday, and 11 a.m. through 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday. In addition to offering hookah, light food options, and non-alcoholic beverages will be offered. The applicant anticipates 70-75% of sales from hookah sales and 30% from food sales. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval 6-1 on July 7th, 2026. Staff recommends that the public hearing be continued to allow additional time to work with the applicant and ensure that the associated ordinance includes appropriate conditions to protect public safety in nearby properties. It's recommended that the City Council continue the public hearing to the August 17th, 2026 City Council meeting. Richard Ludke, our Planning Director, is available for questions, as is Nahid Villani, the owner. He is available for questions, does not wish to speak on this item. The public hearing on this is now open. Do I have any comments or questions?
I move to continue the public hearing to the August 17th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Council. Item D2, public hearing, consideration of an ordinance amending Article 3, Development and Zoning Procedures of Volume 2 of the Lewisville City Code, known as the Unified Development Code, by amending Chapter 3.6, Zoning Petitions and Procedures, to clarify and streamline the zoning petition process, including appeals and align notification procedures with state statutes, amending Chapter 3.10, Zoning Regulation Text Amendments and Procedures, to broaden its application to all text amendments to the Unified Development Code, and to clarify and streamline the text amendment process, including appeals and align notifications, procedures with state statutes, and deleting Chapter 3.11, Procedures for all other text amendments, providing for savings clause, repeal or severability, a penalty, and an effective date. These changes to the UDC are proposed to align with state statute and streamline processes, specifically by updating requirements related to the posting of public hearing notices, by providing exemptions as allowed by the state for comprehensive zoning changes, by allowing for concurrent advertising of City Council and Planning and Zoning Commission public hearings, and by clarifying procedures for the protest and withdrawing or rescheduling of an item. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval 7-0 on July 7th, 2026. It is recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above. Richard Ludke, our Planning Director, is available, and the public hearing on this is now open. I do not have any comments. There are no comments or questions. Council, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to close the public hearing. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Public hearing is now closed. Next up, I need a motion to approve the ordinance.
Move to approve the ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Item 3, public hearing. Consideration of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lewisville, Texas, providing for the adoption of the 2026 Annual Action Plan as required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and authorization for the city manager or her designee to submit a plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. An annual action plan must be submitted to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development by August 15, 2026 as a requirement to receive Community Development Block Grant funds of $821,411 and Home Investment Partnership funds of $373,536.84 in fiscal year 2026-2027. The CDBG Advisory Committee reviewed applications submitted by nonprofit agents and eligible government entities for projects that address HUD national objectives and consolidated plan priorities. At a meeting on May 19, 2026, the committee voted 7-0 to recommend a social services budget with CDBG and city funds of $240,000. At a meeting on June 16, 2026, the committee voted 7-0 to recommend public infrastructure projects to be funded with the fiscal year 26-27 funds. The plan was made available for 30-day public comment period. It's recommended that the City Council approve the resolution as set forth in the caption above. The public hearing is now open on this one. Council, any questions or comments? I don't have anything on the public record.
Move to close the public hearing.
I have a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Council, please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Council, I entertain a motion on the resolution. Once the software catches up.
Move to approve the resolution as set forth in the caption.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion passes 5-0. All right, public hearing. I got 4 of these, guys, so hang on with me here. These are continued public hearings. So item D4, continued public hearing in accordance with Chapter 214 of the Local Government Code and Article 7, Chapter 4 of the Lewisville City Code. Public hearing is required so that the City Council consider whether the structure located at 2274 South Euchre Lane, a 1.31 acre tract, Tract 12, in the El Bourgeois Survey, Abstract 52A, should be declared a substandard structure, and whether the structure must be secured, vacated, repaired, removed, or demolished. City Attorney, can I open all 4 of these? Or do you want me to do them one at a time? Yes, ma'am. I was trying. All right, we're going to go ahead and skip the administrative comments and recommendations as this is a continuance from last City Council. We do have Chris McGinn, Jeremy Booker, Andy, Barbara, and Beth Adams available for questions from city staff. The only person here again is Nahid Vellani, available to speak, but the request here is to continue the public hearing if anyone so chooses. I don't have any other public comment. Council, any questions or comments?
Move to continue the public hearing to the August 17th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote. Item passes 5-0. We will continue this to August 17th. D5, continued public hearing in accordance with Chapter 214 of the Local Government Code and Article 7, Chapter 4 of the Lewisville City Code. A public hearing is required so that the City Council consider whether the structure located at 2304 South Euchre Lane, a 1.5 acre tract, Tract 14 of the El Bourgeois Survey, Abstract 52A, should be declared a substandard structure, and whether the structure must be secured, vacated, repaired, removed, or demolished. This one, again, we will go ahead and skip the administrative recommendations as those were presented in last council meeting. I do have staff available for questions. Do not have anybody again, for speaking. So, council, the public hearing.
Motion to continue the public hearing to the August 17th, 2026 City Council meeting.
All right.
Second.
I have a motion to second. Council, please vote. 5-0. Motion passes. It is continued. All right. We're halfway through. D6, continue public hearing in accordance with Chapter 214 of the Local Government Code, Article 7, Chapter 4 of the Lewisville City Code. Public hearing is required so that the City Council consider whether the structure located in 2316 South Euchre Lane, a 1.5 acre tract, Tract 15 in the El Bourgeois Survey, Abstract 52A, should be declared a substandard structure, and whether the structure must be secured, vacated, repaired, removed, or demolished. We do have staff available for questions. I have no public comment or input at this time. Council, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to continue the public hearing to the August 17th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion to continue passes 5-0. Item D7, continued public hearing in accordance with Chapter 214 of the Local Government Code and Article 7, Chapter 4 of the Lewisville City Code. Public hearing is required so the City Council can consider whether the structure located at 2328 South Euchre Lane, 1.5-acre tract, Tract 16 in the Air Bourgeois Survey, Abstract 52A, should be declared a substandard structure and whether the structure must be secured, vacated, repaired, removed, or demolished. We'll go ahead and move on. I do have staff available for questions. Do not have any public comment or requests on this one. Council will entertain a motion.
Move to continue the public hearing to the August 17th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion passes 5-0 to continue the public hearing. Thank you for sitting through that. All right. Item E, Visitors Forum. Speakers must address their comments to the mayor rather than to individual council members or staff. Speakers should speak clearly and state their name and city of residence prior to beginning their remarks. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes for testimony. Speakers making personal, impertinent, profane, or slanderous remarks may be removed from the meeting. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, clapping, and similar demonstrations will not be permitted. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the City Council is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Action can only be taken at a future meeting. I have several cards here to speak, and I wanted to just put a quick data point out there for all of you who are there. City manager released a public meeting on King Arthur for August 19th, 2026. That'll be here at City Hall, and it'll begin at 6 p.m. I know one of the things that always surprises and maybe confounds some folks is the way open meetings laws work, in that residents come and they speak to council about a particular issue, and we have to sit silent. We can't debate that because it wasn't on the agenda, and that's because we don't want city councils, or the state never wanted city councils to be debating things that weren't posted with enough lead time for people to come in. So I get that sometimes creates some frustration. We talked with our city manager, and she's put together some information for the 19th, but that will be the venue where everybody will be able to talk. Council will be able to give feedback as well. So I wanted to let you know that we've been responsive, and we're hopeful that that will help move this process along as far as the traffic calming on King Arthur. So with that, y'all are more than welcome to speak, and I have Ms. Catherine McGee here to speak regarding King Arthur, and just name and city of residence.
All right, thank you. My name is Catherine McGee. I'm a 23-year resident of the Castle Hills part of Lewisville. I'm here to express my concerns about the concrete barriers and the bump-out curbs installed to protect the bike lanes. I understand and concur with the goal of making our streets safer, but these barriers have created serious safety concerns for our residents and visitors to our neighborhood. On the way to a friend's house last weekend, I personally witnessed a very distraught woman stranded on the side of the road after hitting a barrier with her car full of children. Later that evening, on the way home, we saw another driver who had struck a bump-out curb while she was visiting a friend. These barriers have made driving through our neighborhood more dangerous, not less. They haven't slowed traffic. Even today, while driving the speed limit, I still have people following very closely behind me, wanting to pass. I respectfully ask the council to reconsider this design and look for a safer solution that protects cyclists without creating hazard for our drivers. We all want safer streets, and I believe we can find a better way. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick Vidal.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I've been up here a few times before, and it's good to see everybody again, including our newest member. Let's see here. My wife and I were two of the approximate dozen Castle Hills residents who attended the kickoff meeting for the King Arthur Traffic Calming Project back in November of '24. We had lived in Castle Hills for several years by that time and had been victims of the tailgating, speeding, stop sign running, passing, generally aggressive driving throughout the neighborhood. So when we saw the notices for the meeting, we were curious and thought it might be beneficial to attend. We were surprised by the lack of turnout for the meeting, since this was something the residents had been requesting for years, and that sentiment was shared by the people who presented the meeting. The meeting didn't lay out any specific plans for the project, but presented numerous proven methods to slow down traffic and prevent much of the driving behavior witnessed throughout Castle Hills. Fast forward to today. The program has been implemented, and I must say it is proving to be effective. We do not live on King Arthur, but have friends and family who do. We are very concerned for their safety and specifically the safety of our grandchildren. It has been almost impossible to walk across Castle Hill, or King Arthur, I'm sorry. Young children have not been able to play in their yards without the fear of motorists flying by, passing other vehicles, and generally being reckless. Our family members have reported, however, that they are observing slower speeds, which is the #1 objective of the program, but also fewer incidents of reckless driving behavior. I believe all of these reported collisions with the barriers also prove the effectiveness of the program. I suspect I may be the only citizen here this evening speaking favorably for this program. I understand there's a petition being passed around expressing unfavorable opinions of it. The reason our friends and family members are not here tonight is because they don't want to have their names and reputations publicly trashed by the behavior that has so far been present. I personally have had my intelligence publicly questioned by our elected state representative in public, and who happens to live in Castle Hills, simply because I expressed my approval of the program. That's not the type of representation we need in Austin. There are over 5,000 homes in Castle Hills, and the vast majority are silent in their support of this project. The bottom line is that if you wish to affect change in the community, you have to participate. Attempting to cancel those who disagree with you is not how it's done. Pay attention. The city went above and beyond to include the citizens in this program. Those citizens chose not to participate. And at this point, gnashing of teeth and tearing of robes does not affect change anything. I hope and I pray, along with the silent majority, that the city does not reverse this very effective program. Thanks.
Christy Slayton.
My name is Christy Slayton, a 15-year resident of Lewisville and Castle Hills. I'm back today, but I've brought along many other concerned neighbors with me. We are requesting that the city fix the liability that the calming project has created. The 25 accidents we have documented since the end of May, 14 of those are in the past 10 days, versus the 2 we saw in the past 25 years is unprecedented and evidence of an error. We know the intentions were good, but the solution is not solving the problem. It only created more problems. My fellow neighbor Jen requested at the last city council meeting for the city to work swiftly on a safety review before someone gets hurt. It is already too late. Mr. Kim, an experienced cyclist of 10+ years, broke his collarbone yesterday morning from running into the bump out created by the King Arthur Calming Project, along with 24 car accidents, thousands of dollars in repairs, and lots of very unhappy residents, which also happen to be voters in the next election. We have a petition of almost 1,000 resident signatures who are asking for change. Mayor Gilmore, I know that you are a cyclist and that you wanted to keep cyclists safe. So I am sure that you are as concerned as we are that your fellow cyclist and Castle Hills resident, Mr. Kim, is at Medical City Plano that is recovering from surgery today, and I am speaking on his behalf. Leave the paint, remove the concrete, make King Arthur safe again in Castle Hills.
Tracy Carpenter.
Hello, my name is Tracy Carpenter. I've been living in Castle Hills for 8 years. This is the handout that you have.
We have it.
So my goal today is simple: to clarify where this project began, trace how we arrived, and where we are now. Establish a clear framework for how our community and leadership can work together moving forward, both on remaining details here and on future infrastructure projects. To build trust, we have to start with a shared timeline and an accurate understanding of the facts. Funding allocation, our timeline begins in September of 2023 when $925,000 was allocated to this initiative. $675,000 from a capital improvement project funds and $250,000 redirected from another existing Castle Hills infrastructure project. From the start, this represented a significant public investment, nearly $1 million intended to improve our local infrastructure. The engineering timeline reveals a fundamental flaw in sequence. In July 2024, design plans marked 100% submittal were officially completed. 3 months later, on October 30th, 2024, the supporting traffic study was conducted. Engineering designs were finalized before the traffic data was collected. Furthermore, the traffic evaluation relied on a very narrow, one-day snapshot, short-term camera data that failed to account for seasonal traffic variations or long-term baseline patterns. A good design must be driven by comprehensive local data, not fitted to after the fact. Throughout this process, we have repeatedly heard that these specific design choices were mandated by federal or state rules. If the specific statutory code dictates that these exact implementations, we welcome seeing those references. However, a standard national engineering framework such as MU, TCD, and NACTO guidelines are deliberately written with flexibility so qualified engineers can adapt projects to match unique neighborhoods. In November 2024, a single public informational meeting was held. Residents were given an 8-day comment window during which engineering contracts were already active and underway. In April of 2026, the 442 construction contract was approved as part of the consent agenda, passing without a dedicated public discussion or debate. Public input should shape designs during the planning phase, not serve as a brief formality for construction. The prior 10 years, only 2 minor crashes, 3 months, over 20 crashes.
Ms. Carpenter, that's time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeffrey Krotowski.
Greetings, Jeffrey Krotowski, live in Lewisville in the Castle Hills neighborhood. I want to thank you guys for listening. Try not to beat a dead horse here to save you some time. Look, I think we're all on the same team here. We want a safe road, really. That's the goal here. I think there were some really good ideas implemented, painting lines, clarifying it's a one-lane road, so you eliminate that confusion. Putting in bike lanes, great. I would love to see that expanded, even to more thoroughfares through Castle Hills. But the reality is the parking curbs that they put to divide the bike lane, it's a terrible solution space. We already heard the safety concerns with cars hitting them. We just had a bike, as was mentioned, with a broken collarbone. It's easy to say, well, people should just drive in the lines. And, honestly, I kind of feel that way too. But at the same time, look, things happen. There's debris in the road. Dogs run out, right? People have to take evasive action. Having these curbs sticking out, it eliminates your ability to react and, take some of those evasive actions. So it does cause a safety issue there. I think there's also some practicality concerns as well that I'd like to see be aware of and maybe be able to answer at the next meeting, which I appreciate them holding. I already see bikers not utilizing the bike lane just because those parking curbs are, collecting debris, and now you can't even put a street sweeper there with the parking curbs there to clean out that parking lane. So I'm not sure if we're planning to have people sweep them by hand, but that's already becoming a concern. It's hard to imagine when it's 100 degrees out right now, but there is snow in the winter. Those parking curbs can get covered with snow. You have drivers, they're not gonna be able to see where they are. I'm not sure how you're gonna have a snow plow go through and not take all of them out. So I think there's some practical concerns as well. Really, I think the best solution I've seen is really on that road. The concern to me is not somebody's going 30 and a 25. I think our concern was people were blowing through stop signs, people were passing on a one-lane road, right? And I don't know, some of that's fixed, but I think what we continuously need is continuous police enforcement there, really. I don't think any of the solutions are gonna fix somebody wanting to blow through a stop sign. I appreciate when the police are there. They have done a great job when I've seen them. They've been going after things. Those are things that need to be targeted. And really, at this point, I think just keeping these parking curbs, which are causing a danger, causing issues, aesthetically, I think they're a nightmare. Honestly, it looks like whoever the construction contractor was had just done a parking lot project, and it looks like I ordered too many curbstones. They're like, how on earth can we get rid of these things? That's the impression it gives. It's not part of the whole Keep Lewisville Beautiful, which I appreciate the team that was up here earlier. At this point, it just seems keeping these would just be a sunk cost fallacy. So thank you.
Thank you. Christine Hickson?
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Christine Hickson, and I live in Lewisville. For a moment, put yourself behind the wheel. Picture yourself driving on a neighborhood street. It's wide enough for 2 cars, side by side, to travel in your direction. You approach a 4-way stop, and there are 2 lanes clearly marked. One, you could turn left or go straight, or you could turn right. You decide to turn right. You look left for traffic. You see 2 cars stopped side by side facing toward you. That's another clue that the street you're going to turn on might have 2 lanes. So you begin your right turn. Texas law says your approach and your turn must stay as close as practical to the right-hand curb or edge of the road. So you turn tight, but you come around and unexpectedly find a concrete bump out directly in your path. No warning. You hit it, flat tire. Your trip ends there. Can't continue driving. This could be the story of one of many people recently on King Arthur. Mayor, I know you have heard concerns about this project's outcome. A broader review is likely already underway, but now let's focus on something that could be done right away. A straightforward, low-cost step to help reduce risks, specifically to reduce the risk of more property damage and personal injury. So let's look at another street in Castle Hills, probably the one you came down to get to King Arthur. On Lady of the Lake Boulevard, between Windhaven and Sur Level, the city uses a tapered white line and diagonal white stripes for the marked parking area lanes. When you are turning right onto that street or even pulling out of an alley there, you will see all those markings. Those white stripes guide drivers away from the curb and make it clear where they should be driving. The city's project information for King Arthur talks about consistent road design. It talks about predictable lanes and reducing driver confusion. Advanced striping supports those goals. A tapered white line with diagonal white stripes before each bump out would help people see the intended path and avoid hitting the bump out. Acting now could help prevent another injury. It could also reduce the risk of a legal claim towards the city over preventable harm. Mayor, I understand the council cannot discuss this request tonight. I respectfully ask that the proposal be sent to staff for prompt evaluation. Perhaps this striping was actually intended but not installed by the contractor, and that could be corrected. So let's get things on the appropriate future agendas if needed. I just ask that you go and look at the pavement markings on Lady of the Lake. I believe you'll see that advanced diagonal striping before each bump out makes a lot of sense. It would just be a simple and immediate safety adjustment. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Jen Wilder.
Good evening, Mayor Gilmore.
Hey, Jen.
Thank you so much for having us and listening to us tonight. I do want to start generally with a broad thank you. I've been a resident of the city of Lewisville and Castle Hills for 11 years. I've found great partnership with the city of Lewisville and individuals in front of me today, and I want to thank you for that. I've always found the city to be very responsive, very proactive, and committed to creating a great city and a great environment for all of us. I'm here to speak again tonight regarding what I share a sentiment with many of my fellow citizens around the significant demonstrated safety concerns with the King Arthur Calming Project. Last time I asked that you please act swiftly, and I'm here to say that again tonight. I'll reiterate, thank you for scheduling a meeting August 19th. I would encourage us to say, are we okay waiting until then? We have seen demonstrated data supporting that the road is unsafe today. So as we have mentioned, in the past 10 days, there have been 14 incidents with cars having flat tires, having damage, and being stranded. We've documented with detail 25 overall. Additionally, last night I was going down the King Arthur Calming Project section. Today we have over 70 missing reflectors, 70 missing or bent reflectors in the roadway. This demonstrates again, these are being struck consistently. With the reflectors not there, it also creates more of a hazard that at night people may not see them and strike them again. Additionally, these issues cause debris in the roadway, creating further risk. And additionally, I think we should look at the costs of maintaining these elements of the calming project, because it'll be significant cost to keep cleaning up the debris and repairing them over time. And I think that should be considered when we look at what we want to do going forward. I'll also mention we're all very saddened and troubled by what happened to Mr. Kim. It is so scary and unthinkable to think that one of our neighbors has a broken collarbone and is sitting in the hospital today. And I ask, with all of this being said, that you please consider removing the concrete barriers and removing or augmenting the bump outs. I think these actions should be taken swiftly. Additionally, I would say we can partner on different solutions. We all have the same goals. We're all on the same team. I think that what you see now is a very committed group of citizens who wants to make this a safe roadway. There's no question about that. I think there's lots of ways we could get there. I would mention whatever we could first test, just having paint and reflectors alone. We could test paint and reflectors alone with the addition of police enforcement. That would be a great place to start. If physical barriers are necessary, there's many options. We could look at purpose-built tapered rubber separators. That would have a different result than what we see today, perhaps. We could look at rumble strips, but whatever we pursue, I'd encourage us to think about piloting a very small section and seeing how it operates in practice and getting neighbor feedback as well with that. So again, I want to thank you sincerely, and I look forward to working with you on August 19th. I hope you'll consider acting swiftly to make some changes so we don't have further damage or injuries. Thank you.
Monica Dawson.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for making the time to hear us out tonight. I'm Monica Dawson, a 20-year resident of Castle Hills here in Lewisville. I raised my 3 sons in this neighborhood and was very thankful to have the broad open roads to teach them how to drive. And I can tell you, when we first saw the project unfolding, I was glad to see, for the first time in 20 years, stripes being painted on the road, because the ambiguity, which was previously mentioned, was a real problem. You drive down King Arthur and all you have is a straight yellow line down the road. It was unclear as to whether it was intended to be a 2-lane road or a single-lane road. So I believe that the project was an extreme swing in the wrong direction. In an effort to try to make the road safer, what we've done is created more hazards, as has been clearly shared tonight by my other neighbors. So I'm here to just share that there are many families like mine who are raising their children here in the neighborhood. I appreciate the neighbor also talking about the safety of King Arthur. We're all on the same page. We want to slow down the roads, but where it is right now, there's no room for error. Instead of simply painting stripes on the road and giving clear guidance as to where to drive, continuing to utilize our fantastic police force to help enforce the regulations in our neighborhood, instead we've created extreme hazards. And it's one thing for us as residents of the neighborhood to learn how this works, but every day new people come into our neighborhood, be it delivery trucks or service people, and already we've seen many of those have problems. I personally live very close to the intersection of Lady of the Lake and King Arthur, and a truck having delivered product to a local restaurant busted 2 tires by hitting an unnecessarily large excessive bump out, which narrowed in an intersection that in my 20 years has never been a problem. So now something that was not a problem becomes a problem. I drove home from the airport the other night and just observed my 20-year-old son, who learned to drive in our neighborhood, closely hugging the yellow line and bumping the dots along the way in an effort to stay really far and clear from the curbs on the right side. And it's one thing to bump your car up against a traditional curb, if you will, in a street, and then it's another thing to hit something that is sectionated. It's literally designed to propel you and to bust a tire, which is exactly what we've seen. I just believe this was rushed. It was not properly drawn out for us as residents to really know what was unfolding, and it was shock and dismay that we are contending with right now, that we had no idea. We are all in agreement something needs to be done, but the extent to which it's done has been extreme and has created more hazards. So we would ask for immediate action. Thank you.
Thank you. David Coakley.
Evening, Mayor Gilmore. My name is David Coakley. I'm a resident of Irving. I work here in Lewisville. I run a company here. Brought a couple young citizens with me to learn a little about city government. My daughter Gracie and Emily. My oldest daughter is also a student fighting farmer, proud fighting farmer, so we spend a lot of time at the high school over here too. I had a question about zoning for one of our properties here in Lewisville, and if any of you have time after the meeting, I would love to chat with you about that for a moment.
Gotcha. And this is Custom Greenscaping?
Pardon me?
This is regarding your organization is Custom Greenscaping, is that
Correct, yes, a commercial property that we own here.
All right. David, I'm sure somebody from staff will be able to reach out to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. You thought they were all about King Arthur. No, we've got a couple of others. Next up, Jeff DeFord. This one is King Arthur. Mr. DeFord.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Jeff DeFord, and I live in Castle Hills, Lewisville. I've been a resident for almost 10 years. I'm here to ask you tonight to pause and reevaluate the King Arthur traffic calming project. Before this project began, the law on our streets was clear, a posted 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. The city's own traffic study found that drivers were averaging around 31 miles per hour. This limit was set artificially low, knowing that this would occur. It's just a few miles over the posted limit, but our neighborhood also saw very little reported incidents, as you've heard tonight. And by the residents' own accounts, very little police presence was required to achieve that end. In other words, we have an enforcement gap, not a design failure, if the issue was really speeding. The city's answer was to spend roughly $925,000 in money installing hundreds of concrete parking barriers and several concrete brick bump outs along King Arthur. 2 months later, the results speak for themselves, and they are alarming, as you've heard tonight. Neighbors have documented more than 25 separate incidents since construction. Cars striking the barriers, blowing out tires, bending rims, and needing flatbed tow trucks. Police dispatches in some cases. One neighbor's vehicle sustained over $1,600 in damage after hitting a barrier while trying to safely merge out of the bike lane. Several barriers have been hit more than once in the very same spot by different drivers. That's not a pattern of careless driving. That's a pattern of poor design and poor visibility. And tragically, as you heard, we had a bicyclist crash and broke their collarbone and had to be hospitalized and have surgery by the very controls that were put in place to preserve them, to protect them. That's ironic and sad. To chalk these events up to bad or distracted drivers is both dismissive and irresponsible. I've heard that narrative before. People just need to drive better, pay better attention. That's a broad brush that we're using here to describe the situation. I think that the evidence is overwhelming in the numbers you've heard tonight. Here's the point that I want this council to sit with tonight. A driver going 31 in a 25 is a citation waiting to happen. It's recoverable, correctable, and enforceable. A driver striking an unlit concrete barrier at night or swerving into oncoming traffic to avoid one of these things is a crash waiting to happen, or perhaps worse. We haven't traded a speeding problem for a safety solution. We've traded an enforcement problem for a permanent physical hazard embedded in our roadways, one that doesn't distinguish a driver, one going 25 and one going 45. It doesn't care. The consequences are the same. I'm not asking this council to ignore the real concerns about speeding on King Arthur and traffic control and calming. I'm asking you to acknowledge that the fix isn't working and that nearly $1 million later, our street is measurably unsafe. Halt the further installation of these controls. Remove them. Commission an independent study to review what's already been put in place and redirect these resources towards proven adjustable alternatives. Speed signs, increased patrols, and enforcement. Actions that slow drivers down without turning our curbs into collision hazard. Thank you for your time and service.
Thank you, sir. I do have one last email that came in. The individual chose to have their name redacted, but they are a Castle Hills resident, and they are actually in support of the changes that have happened on King Arthur. They have multiple paragraphs here, but I'm not going to get into that since we covered most of that ground, and we'll be able to discuss that on August 19th. So thank you all again for coming out. We appreciate it. We are continuing to take that information and figure out where we can find a place where we're all excited to have a safe street for everybody. So we'll make sure to continue the conversation. Thank you for the great ideas, and we'll keep moving forward with that. So I'm excited to see you all stay here for the rest of the meeting because I'm sure you're excited about more city government. But if you do leave, I won't take it personally. So thank you for that. Item F, consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a member of the public so requests. For a member of the public to request removal of an item, a Speaker card or e-comment must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I do not have any e-comments. Council, any questions?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the consent agenda. All those in favor, please vote. And you can vote if you're not in favor, too. Motion passes 5-0. Item G, regular hearing. Consideration of 3 alternative standards associated with landscape standards and building materials on the IH-35E corridor overlay core subdistrict on .5211 acres legally described as Jesswood Addition, Lot 1, Block A, located at 1844 North Stemmons Freeway, Zone General Business District, as requested by Mazharul Islam of Civil Urban Associates, LLC, on behalf of Meissen Investments, LLC, the property owner, case number 26-04-5-ALTSTD. Floor & More is a flooring business with locations in Dallas, Rockwall, and Lewisville. The business owner proposes to expand the footprint and make improvements to the existing storefront. Due to existing site constraints, 3 alternative standards are requested to bring the site closer to current development code requirements. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval 7-0 on July 7th, 2026. It's recommended that the City Council approve the 3 alternative standards as set forth in the caption above. Richard Ludke, our Planning Director, is available for questions. Council? If there are no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the 3 alternative standards as set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Item 19, consideration of an ordinance of the City of Lewisville approving the 2026 Annual Service Plan update to the Service and Assessment Plan and Assessment Roll for Public Improvements for the Lakeside Crossing Public Improvement District and providing a repealer, severability, and effective date. On March 20th, 2023, the city created the Lakeside Crossing Public Improvement District for construction of public improvements in a designated area that contains approximately 25.546 acres located along McGee Lane, north of Justin Road and west of Interstate Highway 35E. An update to the Service and Assessment Plan and Assessment Roll must be considered and approved by City Council annually. This plan identifies public improvement costs to be provided by the PID along with the manner of assessing the property in the PID and the assessment roll. It's recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance set forth in the caption above. Council, entertain any motions or conversation?
Motion to approve the ordinance is set forth in the caption. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion passes 5-0. Item H, reports. Reports about items of community interest regarding which no action will be taken. I do have a report from our Director of Parks and Recreation, Ms. Stacy Anaya, to have a report on public engagement sessions for the Lake Park project.
Mayor, I'm over here today.
There you are.
Yeah, there you go.
You moved.
Mayor, City Council members, Parks fans. As you know, we've been working on our schematic design for the Lake Park improvements, trying to execute the Lake Park master plan. And in doing that, we want to give some updates to residents and other park fans and solicit input. So at our monthly park board meeting, we'll have an open house at 5:30 just before the meeting. Then the first agenda item will be an update on the process of design and soliciting feedback from park board as well as anybody who wants to attend the meeting. And then, so that's on Wednesday, August 12th. That's at Thrive. Starting at 5:30 is the open house. 6 o'clock is the Parks Board meeting. And then the next evening, Thursday, August 13th, here at City Hall on the lower level, from 6 to 8, we'll run through the same presentation just so that make sure that we got it on 2 different dates to be able to solicit information. Then just for your general knowledge and everybody else's general knowledge, we're doing specific stakeholder feedback meetings during both of those afternoons.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Progress. Love it.
Also, the lake level is currently...
No, you're not.
I can look it up. Don't leave me hanging.
It's 521.3.
There we go. Thank you. All right. We also, as part of our report package, in your packet, we have the 2025 PARD partner reports. So if you're interested in what all of our PARD partnerships are doing, there's some feedback there to take under advisement. We also have announcements from our City Council. Councilmember Kelly, you mind?
No report, Mayor.
All right. Councilmember Green?
So I just wanted to mention something because it is that time of year again, where we are getting ready to go back to school. I don't believe any of the schools are actually in right now, but I have noticed in the last week that the signs have been flashing. But I just want everybody to please note, next Wednesday, the 12th, is the first day of school. So
since they're flashing now, I definitely see a lot of people kind of ignoring them, knowing that we're not actually in school. But please note, next week, we will be, so please pay attention to those
However,
signs.
if you do drive through it and they're flashing, that is ticketable.
Whether they're in school or not,
Correct.
yes. That's all.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready, Mayor. This year marks the 25th anniversary of 9/11, one of the most horrible days in United States history. In 2021, we started the Red, White, and Blue Freedom Walk across the bridge to honor those that lost their lives, 2,977 to be exact. And there's going to be information disseminated out there. It's going to be in social media and as many places as we can get it. We would like as much response as we can get. What we do is the south side of the lake in Denton County takes off from the south side of the bridge, and we meet the north side of the lake communities, and we meet in the middle, and it brings us to where we can take this day in solidarity. Yes, we can take this day in solidarity and come together as neighbors for the betterment of this country. And thank you for all that have taken part in this in the last 5 years. I certainly appreciate it, and we want this one to be extra special.
Thank you, Councilmember Cade. Councilmember Meredith?
No report.
Councilmember Kirkendall?
Nothing to report.
City Manager? No. All right. Just want to thank everybody for coming out to various events and whatnot. I know it's starting to get into the dog days of summer and everybody's starting to pivot towards school, so watch out for those littles out on the streets. But also, you know, check out your local businesses. We've got a lot of great ones in the summertime. Usually the foot traffic starts to slow and people are starting to focus on different things, so it becomes a little harder for our local businesses. So please, if you get a chance, reach out, buy a gift card for a teacher, something like that. It'd be great. With that, we do have a closed session tonight. So in accordance with Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, legal issues related to economic development agreement with TSMJV LLC for the property located at the northwest corner of South Charles Street and Lake Haven Drive, and Section 551.074, personnel, City Secretary Jennifer Malone Ippolito. We are going to move into closed session. All right. As there is no further action to be taken on tonight's agenda, we are adjourned.